Hi there. So today's episode is slightly different to my usual ones. Today, no, I haven't lost the plot. Today, I'm going to be showing you trees. So why am I doing a video on trees? Well, looking at one specific tree, actually. Yeah, in fact, before I came to Taiwan, the only banyan tree I'd seen was this one from Jet Set Willy 2, if anyone can remember. The banyan tree, let's get one in shot there, are native to Southeast Asia. Not sure if there are any in Britain, I've certainly never seen one, but they are incredibly interesting. This is that bird. Oh no, what is it? It's a squirrel. I can't remember the name of it, I'll look it up, but it's like a black coloured squirrel. It's native to the island. It's a little bit high up there, and you can quite see it on camera. It seems annoyed with something, perhaps me. But the interesting thing about these trees is the way they hold themselves up. So let's have a look. You can see here, roots dangle down, strands dangle down from the branches, and eventually you meet the ground. I'm going to show you a better example of one. Hundreds of them. Well, about 8 here. This is a great example here. So you can see all these strands dangling down. And eventually, some of them will reach the ground. Although these are going to be a little bit disappointed, because when they reach the ground, they're going to find a road. So no good. And also, don't recommend walking through those because they're full of spiders' webs, as I discovered. But you can see when they do reach the ground, this is what happens. They basically hold up all the large trunks. Then, if one fails to reach the ground, then it simply snaps off, as you can see on this one here. That's a great example of one that. The great thing about here as well is they are absolutely everywhere here. And if any of my Sheffield viewers are watching, we know sort of a bit of a joke with the council that basically they see a tree, well, we need to chop it down. We can't have trees in our city, it's disgusting. See how many examples you've got to look from. And this forest here is just full of them. This is actually in the campus as well, so we've got all this all year round. Aha, this is a good example. So you can see some here that have just made their way to the ground. Let me move in a little bit. Got to be careful because it's just been raining, so it's a little bit slippy. So you can see these strands here, and they'll eventually just get thicker like this one, and then hold up this enormous branch. This is a great example. So this one has grown sideways, and incredibly it's managed to stay upright somehow. These few here managed to keep it standing up, or keep it alive, even though it's literally 90 degrees. Let's go and have a look at some more examples. There's some really old ones up here. It's just rained, so there's going to be hundreds of mosquitoes, so I don't want to stay out here too long. Aha, this is a great example here. So see this huge branch here, would have snapped off, however this one just went down and it's holding the whole thing up. You can imagine if you just cut that across there, that branch would just snap off, and in fact it's got a second thick one there as well. Really are unusual, never seen anything like it. I'm going to go down and show you the difference between Sheffield and Taiwan. Oops, something behind me there just scared me. Where the main schools are, there's two enormous trees, but rather than chop them down, they just built the school around them. Can you imagine that in England? In England, get the chainsaw out. An example of what happens when not enough strands reach the ground. It fails. Just to the side of the International Village, there's a huge drop. Just on one of these sides where the mountain raises, goes quite high. And I'll show you the angle of some of these trees. And basically they wouldn't have a chance of survival without branching off. They really are everywhere. It's unbelievable. Aha. Yeah, you can see here. So you can see here. That's a bit unstable to stand on. Yeah, without that bottom strand there, that would almost certainly fall down straight into the dormitory, as it happens. Yeah, check this one out. You can see the angle of it against me. That definitely is 45 degrees. But, yeah, if I was the Sheffield Council, this would be down. Get rid of it. Yeah, ingenious way to hold itself up. Just grow into the wall, and that's exactly what it's done. Well, if you're still watching, I'm going to go down into where the schools are and show you how they look after trees here. Actually, just while I'm walking along, I was looking them up, and the biggest one and oldest one in the world is in India, and it's 500 years old, and it's spread out that far that the canopy covers an area of 4 acres. I'll stick a little picture on screen and you can have a look. What? Incredible. Of course, there is another way. If the strands can't make the floor, the branch can reach the wall and just holds itself up against the wall built against the mountain. Incredible sight. That's the reason I wanted to make this slightly strange video, was because there's nothing like this in England. Nothing like this at all. So I've come down to the main school area, and you can see here. So it's a courtyard built around these 6 or so trees. How cute. He even built a little square around this part here, holding up this branch here. It occurred to me that I don't actually know what they're called in Chinese, so I just had a look on my dictionary and it's not in. However, I can see here there's some signs that I can read. It'll take me a while to read that. I'll come back to you in 2 minutes. So it says these are very popular in rural areas around Taiwan. Generally it says that there's one in the centre of each town, and they're used, as I've already seen, they're used because they're excellent for giving shade. Well, as you can see, although it's shading me, it's not getting rid of the heat. And this one that we look at now, it says estimated to be 80 years old, and it says they're also popular here because of all the branches holding it up. It's not susceptible for falling down during typhoons. So the next part I'm going to show you is across here. So this is where I was comparing the Sheffield Council. So you can see all these buildings. This is the electromechanical engineering building, and I'll show you in a bit where you can see the construction of it, and in 2 seconds I'll show you what they did to preserve the trees. So given the other one said it was 80 years old, I would say this one must be 100. So the building stops here and there's just a gap in it. You can see there they've just continued the building around this tree. Incredible. And then the building continues after it. So they've just built completely around it. Imagine that in England. Cut it down. Get rid of it. It's in the way. Not here. Just before I finish the video, I've just got a perfect example for you. The tree here, the banyan tree, a lot of uncles and aunties all sat down talking about the day's events and this and that. Now discussing, what's that white Goran doing? What's that foreigner doing? And laughing.